Good afternoon. Thank you very much for staying with KTN News. My name is Betty Okai. What a great pleasure it is to have your company this afternoon as we give you the latest news headlines across the country, the continent and the globe. Well, it's about 12:59 p.m. Kenyan time. Let's begin with the highlights.
Waiguru appears before the PAC and the Anti-Corruption Commission. And KCPE is off to a smooth start. Plus, chaos following drama at the Nyeri County Assembly.
We'll begin with developments here in Kenya, and Devolution Cabinet Secretary Waiguru is answering queries from the National Assembly's Public Accounts Committee and also the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission officials. Waiguru's ministry is at the center of a probe over inflated expenses. Only yesterday, Planning Principal Secretary in the ministry, Peter Mangiti, retracted the information before the National Assembly's Public Accounts Committee about these expenses. Well, let's bring in our reporter Patrick Amimo, who is following the important developments right from Integrity Center. Patrick, thank you very much for joining us. Maybe you can just begin by telling us what are investigators looking to achieve from today's proceedings with Waiguru?
Thank you, Betty. Indeed, Cabinet Secretary for Devolution Waiguru was expected at Integrity Center to be briefed by detectives from the Anti-Corruption Commission at 11, but that time she could not make it because she was also supposed to appear before the National Assembly to answer questions from members of Parliament. Given that the National Assembly has been on a one-week recess and it's resuming its sittings this afternoon, so she appeared before the National Assembly this morning at around 11, together with a permanent secretary to answer some questions that MPs were seeking answers to before she proceeded to Integrity Center. She checked in here at around noon, that was 12. And as I'm talking now, she's still inside with detectives who want to know from her. They will want her to shed some information on the 791 million shillings that was lost at the National Youth Service, which is a department under her ministry. These are the NYS saga, the 791 million shillings. The story of the loss came early in the year. But then that time after the CS Waiguru had said that there was an attempt to steal money from NYS through its information finance management integrated system, IFMIS. And she then ordered detectives to look into the matter. And the verdict was that this money had been lost. Besides the 701 million shillings, there's also another 810 million shillings that is also been said that it's been lost. So these are some of the issues that Waiguru will be answering detectives here. Because when the report went to the Director of Public Prosecution, Kyallo Tobiko, he ordered the Anti-Corruption Commission to interrogate Cabinet Secretary Waiguru together with the Principal Secretary in the Ministry and the Director of the National Youth Service. Because the DPP said that some of the allegations that are leveled against the ministry touch on crime, which is the docket of the Anti-Corruption Commission. So Kyallo Tobiko ordered that CS Waiguru should also appear here and record a statement with the detectives. So her appearance here is in line with the directive from the DPP. Last week, Thursday, we had the Principal Secretary in the ministry, Mr. Mangiti, appearing before detectives to give his version of the story on what he knows about the going on at NYS. And earlier, 2 weeks earlier, we also had the director of NYS appearing before the detectives and also recording his statement. So this is just a follow-up to the money, the 791 million shillings that was lost at NYS. That's what the detectives want to know, who really stole this money and why. Maybe because they say some of the services were not delivered. That's it.
Patrick, just before I let you go, maybe we can just look into what happened to yesterday. And Peter Mangiti actually retracted that report, that controversial report that showed the inflation of prices. Will that have an impact on what Waiguru will be interrogated on today? The fact that he retracted the report yesterday?
The other interesting thing with Devolution Ministry is that scandals keep on emerging every other day. 2 weeks ago, we had a scandal from the youth fund where about 130 million shillings was lost. And as we talk now, the CEO has been suspended with regards to that test. Also, as the matter was still ongoing, there was a case of another scandal appearing whereby officers from NYS were said to be selling produce or cereals at inflated prices. So in as much as Mangisi did clear to the public accounts committee yesterday, saying that the list that came before the committee was accidentally found in the documents, and trying to say that it was not a complete list. I don't think if it will have any impact on the investigations that are ongoing here, because that is a separate matter that is touching on the ministry. Perhaps if CS Waiguru is asked about it, she's on record saying that she's not an accounting officer, and she said the blame lies squarely with the principal secretary, who is an accounting officer of the ministry. But again, the opposition has raised issues with the way the Anti-Corruption Commission is operating. In that 2 weeks ago, we had the Anti-Corruption Commission release an audit report on NYS where they said the systems are not proper and they allow theft. So people are asking why is that the opposition was so critical about it, saying that that money, that report would have been presented to the Director of Public Prosecution and not the Minister, who is probably blamed some of the excesses of misgiving going on in the ministry.
All right, thank you very much, Patrick Amimo, there, just giving us the latest from Integrity Center, where Devolution and Planning Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru is currently before the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission officials. We'll keep you updated on what happens during the day. Well, the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations kicked off to a smooth start this morning. The Kenya National Examination Council said 937,467 candidates are registered to sit in the exam this year. The examination ends this Thursday. Well, this year's candidates are sitting the exam after their studies were interrupted by an extended teachers' strike over a salary pay hike row. Well, let's bring in our reporter Francis Ontomwa to tell us how the examinations have fared on in the first day in Mombasa.
It's day one of the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, and the examinations are in progress. Today's timetables reads mathematics. In midday, we'll be having English paper, and in the afternoon, it is expected that they'll be sitting for the composition paper. Star of the Sea is one of the 381 centers here in Mombasa County, and Mombasa County, we are told that it has recorded some 16,000 candidates this year, representing a huge margin compared to last year. And examinations are in earnest. So examination authorities here, the school authorities, they are saying that they have prepared well enough to be able to help boost their students as they prepare to take another stage of life, moving to the secondary school level.
We have high hopes. Every year we try to improve where we were last year. So we are expecting very good results this year. Yeah, our candidates looks prepared. Yeah, and you see, you keep on building from the past. So every year we look at the results, we analyze, and we put in strategies to keep on improving.
This year's examinations come at a unique time when the country is facing the El Nino problem, and it's not any different here in most coastal schools, and especially schools in the rural setups. There are fears that this could hamper progress and rather the examinations progress in different parts. The Kenya National Examination Council has been saying that they have braced themselves for this problem, and they say that there are hired helicopters that could be used if needed to be able to ferry examination materials to places that they will be needed.
It's a fear. If truly the El Nino, as it is predicted, starts, you can see the drainage of our school as a problem. Our children comes from the outskirts of Mombasa, where sometimes those places it's impossible. But the challenge has been there even during the other years, and we have never missed a candidate coming to sit for the exam.
One of the key factors that will be in discussion here is the question of examination leakage. We saw it pan out during the beginning of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Education, but authorities here are exuding confidence that this will not characterize these examinations of the primary school level, and they are hoping that it will be a transparent examination that will cut across the entire country.
I leave that to NEC. They have the capacity to take care of it.
This year's candidates face a huge test, of course, keeping in mind that it was a year characterized by the teacher strike. The September month-long strike is one that affected the entire country. We remember the teacher unions trying to pile pressure on the Kenya National Examination Council to rather push forward the examination date so that they enable the candidates to prepare well. The teachers say that they compensated properly the 1 month strike that affected their studies, and they did more of preparations into the examination, and they say that this may not really affect the end results, though it is of keen interest to say that some schools will of course be definitely affected, given that there were challenges during the 1 month strike. We've seen security apparatus spread across the county of Mombasa. Here at the Star of the Sea Academy, we've seen police officers manning this particular exercise, which is one of the crucial exercises in the education industry here in Kenya.
I would say our school is secure. The parents have taken precaution. The children are well protected, and the government, we see they have sent security people, so we are sure that everything is okay.
For a year that has been dogged with a lot of challenges, some over 900,000 candidates are sitting for these particular examinations across the country, and many will be looking to see how this year will compare with examinations of the previous years. My name is Francis Ontomwa at the Star of the Sea Primary School, Mombasa.
Now, many Kenyans have been skeptical about the much predicted El Nino rains, but the weatherman says it has indeed begun. Nairobi experienced heavy rains last night, even as the Kenya Red Cross Society reported significant amounts of rainfall in Kakamega, Kericho, Kisii, Homa Bay and Bungoma.
The latest weather forecast in Kenya indicates that rainfall is expected to continue over several parts of the country. However, heavy rainfall of more than 50 millimeters in 24 hours is expected in some areas. In Nakuru County, average amounts of rainfall were experienced in Nakuru town. This has been the highest recorded rainfall since the beginning of the season.
But because El Nino condition is not the only weather system that is affecting our weather, it has to go with other systems such as wind patterns, cloud patterns, and also the temperature conditions over the Indian Ocean. So together and other climatic conditions affect our weather.
Whereas in Narok County, heavy rainfall was accompanied by strong winds. A lightning struck a family, resulting in a fire. No one was injured in the incident. The government of Kenya put aside 50 billion Kenyan shillings to tackle El Nino and put on standby 70,000 National Youth Service members in readiness for the destructive El Nino rains. The evolving El Nino climate phenomenon may cut coffee output in Uganda, Africa's biggest exporter. In Uganda, it will expose people living in highland areas such as the slopes of Mount Elgon to landslides and floodings in parts of Teso and West Nile.
So far, we have reports from different parts of the country. For example, recently, for the past weeks, we have impact of heavy rain over some parts of Lake Victoria Basin, especially over Mwanza, where some people lost their life, and also there was property damage in terms of infrastructure. And also we had an incident of an airport at Mwanza closed for about 6 hours.
For the first time in over 20 years of the United Nations negotiations, world leaders will gather in Paris ahead of the 2015 Paris Climate Conference. The main aim is to achieve a legally binding and universal agreement on climate that will help to keep global warming below 2 degrees Celsius. Zinzi Kibiku, KTN News.
Let's take a look at some drama in Nyeri County, and it was intended to be a peaceful meeting to resolve a crisis. It became an entirely different thing altogether. Negotiations turned into shouting matches, and the venue of the meeting by a section of members of the Nyeri County Assembly was reduced to a circus. Take a look.
An early morning meeting at the Nyeri County Assembly, where members of the County Assembly allied to the National Alliance Party met, was not to be, as chaos erupted mid-meeting after a disagreement arose. Drama characterized the meeting that had been held to oust the Nyeri County Assembly Majority Leader Jesse Kamuri, who has been accused of misconduct and unethical conduct. Jesse has, however, distanced himself from the accusations, saying he has not received any complaint of misconduct. Chaos erupted when the Chinga MCA Paul Ngiria protested the presence of the media during that sitting. There was also no clear consensus when it came to which modality to use in electing another majority leader, whether through secret ballot or otherwise. The verbal exchanges threatened to turn physical as temperatures rose in the boardroom where the meeting was being conducted.
Not a KTN party. We will not decide on us. We are like the 6 members of KTN. We will decide for ourselves.
There was heavy police presence and police officers could be seen manning the assembly as the tension escalated. Eventually, it was decided that nothing further could continue with the bickering that had gotten out of hand, and the meeting was finally called off. The majority leader under siege, Jesse Kamuri, blamed the executive arm of the county government, saying it has a hand in his woes.
We are not at peace because seriously I've led the war on corruption and will continue leading the war on corruption. And I'm not saying that the government is corrupt. All we are saying is that we are investigating allegations of corruption, and we must be led to do so in line with the statutory and the constitutional mandate.
He also defended himself and distanced himself from the accusations leveled against him.
Kunayo mambo ambayo tunashughuza kama kamati maalum ambayo tulitenga kama hii nyumba ili kuweza kushughuza mambo kadhaa kuhusiana na ufisadi. Na kuanzia wakati huo nimeona nikipigwa vita mingi, na kwa hivyo kama binadamu anayefikiria unaweza tu kufikiria, hiyo maneno yanatoka pande hiyo.
Narumoru MCA Renyeru Marete Ringera, however, said that Jesse Kamuri should own up to his mistakes instead of deflecting blame elsewhere.
Huyu ni majority wa kujidai. Tulipomchagua ni wa kujidai. Aungani na wengine. Ni mtu wa kujitia madoido. Yaani, na ndio maana tukaona kuna link, ila link kati ya MCAs na governor. Tunataka majority linda ambaye atatuunganisha, ataweza kutuunganisha na executive ili tuweze kufanyia watu wa Nyeri kazi.
The meeting has been postponed till further notice. Carol Nderi, KTN News at the Nyeri County Assembly.